Obsession is one of the most misunderstood forces in human psychology. People imagine it as something mystical, manipulative, or cruel, something done to others rather than something that emerges within them. In reality, obsession is not created through force. It is cultivated through perception, emotional resonance, and psychological triggers that awaken deep, often unconscious needs. Dark psychology is not about evil intent. It is about understanding the shadow side of human desire, the parts people rarely admit but constantly respond to. When used recklessly, it becomes manipulation. When understood responsibly, it becomes influence. This piece does not teach domination. It teaches awareness. Because no one becomes obsessed with someone who tries to control them. They become obsessed with someone who makes them feel alive, seen, and incomplete without explanation. The nature of obsession. Obsession does not begin with attraction. Attraction is easy. Obsession is rare. Attraction says, "I like you." Obsession whispers, "I can't stop thinking about you." Psychologically, obsession forms when three elements collide: emotional uncertainty, intermittent reward, identity relevance. When someone feels emotionally safe but not emotionally stimulated, attachment fades. When someone feels emotionally stimulated but not safe, anxiety grows. Obsession lives in the space between comfort and mystery. The human brain does not fixate on what it understands fully. It fixates on what it cannot resolve. Mystery is stronger than availability. One of the darkest truths of human psychology is this: the mind values what it cannot fully access. When someone knows everything about you, your psychological presence weakens. When they feel they are still discovering you, curiosity transforms into fixation. This does not mean playing games. It means having depth. People who overshare early destroy tension. People who reveal themselves slowly create gravity. The brain releases dopamine not when it receives answers, but when it anticipates them. If you want to be unforgettable, never present yourself as fully understood. Not because you are hiding, but because you are layered. Emotional contrast creates attachment. People do not bond through constant pleasure. They bond through contrast. Dark psychology reveals that emotional peaks and emotional silence activate stronger neural encoding than steady affection. This is why people remember intense experiences more than calm ones. If you are always present, always validating, always predictable, you become background noise. If your presence creates emotional shifts, warmth followed by distance, depth followed by lightness, you become mentally stimulating. The key is not cruelty. The key is unpredictable emotional texture. Obsession forms when someone associates you with emotional intensity rather than emotional comfort alone. The power of selective attention. Nothing creates fixation faster than feeling chosen. When someone senses that your attention is intentional, not automatic, they value it more. Attention given freely is pleasant. Attention given selectively is intoxicating. Dark psychology teaches that people obsess not over those who want them, but over those who could walk away. This does not mean threatening abandonment. It means having a life that does not revolve around pursuit. Your time must feel earned, not available on demand. When someone realizes your attention is a privilege rather than a guarantee, they unconsciously work to secure it. Identity reflection, the deepest hook. The strongest form of obsession occurs when someone sees themselves reflected in you, but elevated. This is not flattery. This is psychological mirroring at the identity level. People become obsessed with those who make them feel more intelligent, more attractive, more confident, or more understood, without explicitly telling them so. You do this by a listening more than speaking, a responding to values, not just words, a recognizing patterns they don't realize about themselves. When someone feels deeply seen, their nervous system relaxes. When they feel deeply recognized, attachment forms. Recognition says, "You are not invisible here." That is addictive. Scarcity is psychological, not physical. True scarcity is not absence. It is emotional exclusivity. Being physically distant but emotionally available weakens desire. Being emotionally selective while present strengthens it. Dark psychology teaches that obsession grows when access feels limited but meaningful. If everyone gets the same version of you, no one feels special. If one person feels emotionally distinct in your presence, fixation begins. This is not manipulation, it is discernment. Emotional anchoring and memory imprints. The brain attaches emotion to memory. When strong emotion is present, the moment imprints deeper. This is why people remember how someone made them feel more than what they said. If your presence becomes associated with emotional safety, excitement, curiosity, or self-discovery, your absence activates longing. Obsession is not about proximity. It is about emotional residue. When you leave, something should linger. The shadow of validation. Excessive validation weakens desire. Selective validation strengthens it. This is not cruelty, it is psychological calibration. When someone receives constant reassurance, their brain stops working for connection. When reassurance is earned, it becomes meaningful. Dark psychology shows that people value approval most when it aligns with their self-image and feels sincere rather than automatic. Praise effort. Acknowledge growth. Avoid empty affirmation. Make validation feel specific, not constant. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is one of the most misunderstood tools in human interaction. Most people talk to fill space. Those who are comfortable with silence control the emotional tempo. Silence invites projection. Projection fuels obsession. When you do not immediately respond, the other person fills the gap with thought. When you do not over-explain, the mind searches for meaning. This does not mean ignoring. It means not overfeeding certainty. The mind obsesses where clarity is delayed. Emotional independence is magnetic. Nothing kills obsession faster than neediness. People do not desire those who depend on them. They desire those who choose them. Dark psychology reveals that independence signals value. When someone senses you have emotional self-sufficiency, they subconsciously respect you more. You are not chasing connection, you are allowing it. This reverses the psychological dynamic, the ethical line. Here is the truth most dark psychology content avoids. If someone becomes obsessed because you exploited their insecurity, trauma, or fear of abandonment, you have not created attraction. You have created dependency. That is not power. That is harm. True influence does not remove autonomy. It amplifies desire without destroying choice. If obsession forms, it should be mutual, conscious, and grounded in respect, not confusion, anxiety, or loss of self. Anything else is not psychology. It is control. Why people obsess and why they leave. People obsess with those who trigger emotional depth, maintain mystery without deceit, offer selective attention, reflect identity, remain emotionally grounded. They leave those who over-explain, over-validate, over-pursue, fear loss more than dishonesty, make connection feel predictable. Obsession is not created by effort. It is created by presence with boundaries. The darkest truth of all. The strongest psychological pull is not manipulation. It is self-mastery. When you are emotionally regulated, self-aware, grounded, and expressive without needing validation, you become psychologically rare. People do not obsess with perfection. They obsess with depth they cannot replace. Be complex, not confusing. Be warm, not desperate. Be selective, not distant. And remember, if someone becomes obsessed with you because they feel more alive, more curious, and more themselves in your presence, you have not used dark psychology. You have simply understood human nature.